when I was home for emergency leave, I was blessed. I got my wife pregnant. I'm home now from Kosovo, and I knew to be a good dad, I had to go back to confession. I didn't want my son to grow up and do the things I did as a young man. And I just walked up to the nearest Catholic church that I saw, knocked on the rectory door, and I was very blessed to have a wonderful priest that took me in. Never met him before. And just to give folks out there an idea of how far away I was from my Catholic faith, I couldn't recite the Our Father. When I was in there for a good 2 hours giving my confession, crying, weeping, snot bubbles coming out of my nose, and at the end of it, the Father said, "Michael, recite your act of contrition." And I looked at him like a hog staring at a wristwatch. I had no idea what he was talking about. And he smiled, put his hand on my shoulder, went into the next room, came back with a prayer card that had the act of contrition. He's like, "Read this." And I never looked back, and that's basically how my conversion process started. Very grateful, very humbled for what the Lord has done for me.
It sounds like when you felt that interior motion for confession and realizing that you're going to be a father, that you had to be a leader, it really it was the whole idea of leadership seems instrumental in your
that's a great point. I haven't looked at it that way until you just brought it up now, and that's a great point. I knew to be a good dad or a good leader for my son, I had to get right with the man upstairs and with the Catholic Church and with God in general, and that's one of the impetus to drive me to go back to confession. And just, again, just the interior knowledge that I'm a sinful human being and God is full of mercy, and I had to go back.
Well, it's a wonderful book. Did this book or have anything to do with you becoming one of the bodyguards for Father John Carapi?
Well, I think you might be overstating that. I volunteer for him and help out when I can. Again, Father John played a huge role in this in the sense that it was him that asked me the question of to come out and teach a class on leadership to his workers.
How did you meet Father Carapi?
When I was in Iraq, I sent him an email. I had one of his DVDs I brought with me, his personal testimony. And one of the reasons I wanted that DVD, another Franciscan told me about his background of having been in the Special Forces, going through the training.
Right.
So when I listened to the DVD at home, I was floored by, here's a guy that was just, had a very rough life and then came back to God. And very motivating, inspiring. So I brought that DVD with me in Iraq, figuring we'd have some bad days there. And one Sunday, I was back at the main base camp. The only time we would ever have Mass or Christian services if you were back at the main base camp. It happened to be a Sunday, and if there was a chaplain or a Catholic priest there. And during my 8 months in Iraq, I probably only had the opportunity to go to Mass or be in a Bible reading like maybe 8 times during the whole 8 months because we were constantly out on patrol working. So that Sunday, I was fortunate enough to be back at the main base camp. There was a Baptist chaplain there. They did a little Bible service. And I'm with the 5th Special Forces Group. These are good men, most of them Southern men, good, solid Christian Baptist men. They kind of look at us Catholics like we're a little crazy sometimes. But nonetheless, good Christian men. So at the end of this Bible service, I asked the chaplain, I was like, "Chaplain, I have this DVD of a former Army Special Forces soldier that later became a Catholic priest. Would you be interested in watching it with me?" And there was about 10 of us there, and they said, "Sure." So we watched it, and the reaction is the reaction that anyone gets when you hear Father Carapi's conversion story. Just a wonderful, beautiful tale of mercy. My company commander, Major Overdare, came up to me and asked me later, he goes, "Has anyone in the Special Forces tried contacting him?" And I thought, wow, what a wonderful question, because I wouldn't have thought of it my own. I had no idea really who Father John was other than listening to his DVD. I didn't understand his popularity or his recognition within the Catholic Church. So I went to a local computer that we had down there, went on the website, and I just sent him an email thanking him for his service in the military and, more importantly, his service to Christ and answering the call to be a priest, and told him that we watched his testimony down here in Iraq and were very motivated by it and never expecting anything from it. And then I got an email from him the next day. And that's how our friendship started.
That's great. I noticed also you're holding your rosary in your hand as we're speaking.
Yes, this is my strength as I'm nervous in front of the Catholic brother here with the microphone in my face.
The microphone makes me nervous too. That's why I don't look at the camera. Anyway,
I carry 2 rosaries, not one. I carry 2.
Yeah.
First of all, I have very grateful for the Blessed Mother, wonderful devotion. What a great saint that we have in her, and she always leads us towards Christ. And I think our Christian brothers, if they only understood the beauty of the rosary, how it's a prayer of the gospel. And Mary will always lead us towards Christ. And in the Army Special Forces, we're out in the field of battle. At a minimum, we always carry 2 weapons, our primary weapon and our secondary weapon. So I always carry 2 weapons wherever I go. I got my primary weapon and my secondary weapon, both rosaries.
That's great. So Our Lady's had a role in your spiritual life.
Absolutely. At the beginning, I did not understand it, and I still am in the infancy of my spiritual journey. But as I'm growing in it, I understood the unique role that the Blessed Mother has, and just being that gentle intercessor and guiding us always towards Christ. Everything that we give to Mary, she'll magnify that much better and purify and give it to her Son.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it sounds like it's a beautiful story, Mike. It really is.
I appreciate that.
God takes great pleasure in taking sinners and making them great saints, and I think that's the hope of an awful lot of us.
Sure. I definitely fit the sinner category, and I'm working on towards being a humble servant of God.
Oh, yeah. So it sounds wonderful. Well, many, many blessings to you.
You too.
Thank you for the interview.
Oh, thank you, brother. God bless you.
And many blessings to you. This is David Halseal for AirMaria.com. Thank you very much, Michael Cutone, for this interview, and blessings to all of you. Ave Maria.